So normally this is the time that I would have some fun intro for you guys to start off this video, but instead I think we're going to do something a little bit different because I want to give you guys a PSA, a public service announcement. Now if you guys aren't aware, there was a big update that happened in Tactical Monsters, and there was one thing in particular that I know a lot of people are missing, and I don't want you guys to miss out. It is free rewards. Now how do you get these free rewards? Well, here's what you do. When you go into the game, head into the Rumble area. Once you head into the Rumble area, you're going to see that you're going to have that button up at the top that shows you your trophies that you have currently. Now, if you click on that, you're going to see something new, and it may even be lighting up for you right now. What you're going to see is on the left side here, there is a bar that shows you all of the different rewards that you can get one time by doing well in Rumble. So as you guys reach different totals, you will be able to cash in and get all of these different rewards. There are crystals, there are character shards, there are chests, there's all kinds of things for you guys, and of course, the gold that we all need for our characters. So, for those of you that have been doing Rumble and haven't seen this already, make sure that you do head into the Rumble area, click on that trophies, and start getting yourself some free rewards. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the new character. Hey everyone, welcome to another Reality Skewed Gamers Tactical Noobs video. I am Finity, one of the Tactical Noobs, and we are here to talk about one of the latest characters in Tactical Monsters, Hazel. Now, Hazel is a tooth fairy. Pretty straightforward. She's a tooth fairy. She attacks with teeth. She likes collecting teeth. Everything that you would expect from a tooth fairy. Now, her kit is actually pretty interesting. She is an epic character, so she is a blue character. She's a ranged magic user. Her kit is actually going to be very reliant on other characters. Now we'll talk about that here a little bit, but let's start out by looking at the progression of her skills and some of the important things that you'll need to make sure you check out. So she gets some progressions at level 5, at level 8, at level 11, at 14, but level 17 is the key. Now that is where she gains an energy to her ultimate to start off. Now that does end up being very key to her abilities. So if you plan on using Hazel, I would recommend waiting until you get her at least level 17 because you're going to want that ultimate to come up as soon as possible. Now, let's take a look at her skills and see why that ultimate is so important and what you can do in order to maximize her skills. So first she has her basic, which is the magical mallet. Now this will direct her mallet to strike an enemy. Now despite the fact that she has the mallet in her hand, it does fire kind of a beam of light, like a little ball of light, probably tooth light, because you know, teeth all are white and shiny. So I'm pretty sure that she sends that to go and attack whoever you're attacking with. So it's a ranged attack despite the fact that she's using a mallet. And most important is that that unit will not gain energy as a result of being attacked. So this does help prevent the gain of other characters that have low energies needed in order to get their ultimates from getting those up very quickly. And as a result also, during turns 1, 3, and 5, attacks will actually remove a point of energy from the enemy unit as well. Now there are a few characters that we really like in this game that do that on a more consistent basis, like Baby Wushi and Sabrina, and now you have Hazel, so you can start to control energy with her basic attacks. Now let's go to her ultimate. Now her ultimate is a 3 energy ultimate. Now this is why it's so important that you get to level 17, because once you get that energy, you only need 2 more in order to get it, and now there's a lot of different ways that you can get up that extra 2 energy. What her ultimate does is it gathers up all of the teeth in her possession, which we'll talk about in a second, and launches them at the enemy unit. This skill deals 100% damage plus an additional 50% damage for each tooth that is launched. No extra damage is dealt if no teeth are present, so otherwise it'll just deal 100% damage. All teeth will disappear after using this skill, and the maximum skill unlocks at level 14. Now what changes as you progress is that extra damage that you get from each of the different tooth. It progresses with 10%, 30%, and then 50%. So that 50% is going to be very important. So make sure that you get her at least level 14 to get this ultimate maxed out. But again, level 17 is what you need in order to make sure that you're getting that extra energy. Now, she gathers up all the teeth in her possession. How does she get her teeth? That gets us to her passive. In her passive ability, she uses her friends, her allies, in order to gain more teeth. How does she do that? Well, she gives them a dentistry license. So, at the start of each turn, she gives a random friendly unit a dentistry license, which increases that unit's attack by 20% for 2 turns. So that's just part of it, though. Now, what happens as you progress? Whenever a friendly unit with the dentistry license successfully hits an enemy unit, Hazel will collect 1 tooth up to a maximum of 4 teeth. Now, a tooth will block 50% of the damage the next time Hazel will take damage, and the tooth will disappear after blocking the damage. So what does that mean? Well, the teeth kind of act in a similar way to the UARs of Missy, except instead of fully negating it, it's going to knock it off by half, and then it's going to disappear. So that's the way the teeth work while she has them on her. Similarly, she can use them in order to attack. So Hazel is kind of a epic version of Missy. So Missy is the monsters version. Hazel is a little bit of the epic version. They're very similar in a lot of what they do. Now, what the difference is that she collects her teeth from other characters. Now, this will go into the Synergies Encounters that we're going to talk about here in a minute. But when you look at her overall kit, she does a really nice job of boosting damage if she can get 4 of those teeth. Now, why is that so important? Let's take a look at her stats and see what is so critical about getting those teeth. When you look at her stats, she is just about average on everything. She's not really excelling in any one particular spot. So if you take a look at it, her health is really low. She's actually pretty squishy. So you're going to have to make sure that you're protecting her to keep her alive in order to get these attacks off. Her damage, again, just middle of the pack. Nothing great. Again, but this is before you count in, the 4 teeth that she can get, increasing her damage by 200%. So again, this is why the teeth are so critical and why being on a good team where she's collecting these things is going to be critical. Her physical defense is 2. Magic defense is 2, so that puts her kind of, right around the typical range. Nothing special, nothing great. Her initiative is actually pretty slow. Where does this end up being critical? What ends up being critical about this is that she will end up being one of your later characters. If you have a faster character and you delay and it gets to her turn, on the first turn, you can get that dentistry license up on one of your allies and start collecting teeth turn 1. So this is where it becomes important, because the slower that she is, then you have to make sure that you delay with your faster character so you can accumulate teeth early. If she was faster, she would have gone first and done the same thing. But because she's slow, again, you have to change your strategy, make sure that you delay to get that dentistry license on one of your characters. And remember, it's random, so you won't necessarily be able to select the one that you want. You'll have to just kind of go with whoever she picks. And then her mobility is a 3, again, just around average, but she's ranged. You don't really need to move her around that much, so wherever she is, that's fine. It's the rest of her stuff that you really have to pay attention to, especially her health and her damage. So those 2 things end up being very key to make sure that you're utilizing her well. Now, let's talk about some of the Synergies Encounters that she has. So Hazel has a lot of Synergies Encounters that we can start accounting for in order to make sure that she is best utilized, but also you have to make sure that you know how to fight her and what to be cautious of. So let's go ahead and start looking at her synergies. The first synergy is Carissa. Now, Carissa ends up being pretty straightforward. She's a 3 energy ultimate character, Hazel is, and so Carissa will definitely help get that ability up very, very quickly. So that is where Carissa ends up being very critical to help Hazel. Now, again, one of the issues with this synergy, unlike some of the other 3 energy ultimates, is that Hazel needs to collect teeth in order to really get her ultimate going. So while Carissa synergizes in getting that ultimate going, part of the problem that you will see if you use Carissa with this team is that she will not be able to accumulate all of these teeth early enough in order to make use of the ultimate in turn 1. So you have to be cautious about how you use Carissa with this team. It can work, but again, not the greatest synergy, especially with a 3 energy ultimate character. Now let's take a look at a legendary character that really synergizes well with Hazel, and that is Chronos. Now, why Chronos? Chronos does an AoE attack with his basic, and when he does that, he will hit everyone within one cell of him. Each of these hits can then generate an extra tooth for Hazel. So what we are going to see a lot of in these synergies are characters that do multi-hits. These are all characters that can help her gain more teeth as the match continues. The more teeth, the happier Hazel is, the harder she's going to hit. So Chronos ends up working really well, and if you can stop time, then of course you know that you're going to have some extra time in order to get those attacks off by Hazel. Another legendary that really fits well for the same reason is Wukong. Now Wukong, again, he not only attacks, but when he gets hit, he counterattacks on that hit. So you can get 2 hits on one turn with Wukong helping to feed the teeth. Wukong works out really well. And again, if you look at Wukong's picture, he actually has pretty nice teeth, so it kind of makes sense that Hazel would like him. Now, let's take a look at another character that I think is going to be one of the most critical if you're going to be utilizing Hazel a lot, and that is Kahn. Now, Kahn counterattacks, or just attacks, with his lurking predator anytime somebody within a cell of him gets attacked by one of your other allies. So Kahn can not only help you gain teeth, but he can help you gain teeth not on his turn. So if you have somebody else that's attacking somebody else within range, Kahn is a great character to help you with that. And then lastly, we have one other character that can work out really well, and that is Bigfoot. Now the reason for Bigfoot is because on his ultimate, he can continue rolling and dealing damage to a character multiple times. And so each of these times is another way to generate some of those teeth. Those things combined make all of these characters really good synergistically with Hazel. Now, here is the problem. There are some really easy counters to Hazel. The first counter, again, is a control of the energy. Is always a way of doing that, and that's Baby Wuxi. Similarly, the next one, of Sabrina, is also another character that can help control energy. When you help control energy, you're going to make it so that Hazel will not be able to gain the energy. Now, she's going to be doing something similar with her basic, so it's going to be kind of a back and forth of energy control. But if Baby Wuxi and Sabrina can control the energy of Hazel, then that is a good way of you to be controlled. But here's the thing. You don't really have to worry about that. One of Hazel's biggest weaknesses is that she is really, really squishy. She is very squishy. And so because of that, there are 2 characters that I think are going to be bigger counters to Hazel simply because of how low her hit points are. The first one is Mr. P. Now, Mr. P has been on a trend in a lot of the Rumbles, especially recently with the introduction of Jan, because he can get powered up pretty quickly. And you could use the Mr. P with the wall strategy, and you can also see him doing a lot of damage that way. When you leave Mr. P to attack, he's going to do a lot of damage, but also don't forget that his ultimate leaves a dot. And so those damages can start eating up a lot of your teeth. The more damages Hazel takes, the more teeth she's going to lose, and the less effective her ultimate is going to be. So Hazel is not going to work out really well with characters that are attacking her a lot to eat up those teeth. That being said, her health is really low. Mr. P would be able to take her out, but you may even be able to take her out in turn 1 if you have Captain T. Captain T teamed up with Sabrina is going to be almost an instant kill of Hazel. Hazel ends up being way too squishy to be able to handle this damage, and if Captain T is able to hook Hazel and bring her in, and bring all the other attackers to take her out, she's going to be dead turn 1 and not be able to provide you any kind of bonus. She might be able to get one of the characters a dentistry license in order to get them that 20% boost, but that's pretty much it. So Hazel is a pretty interesting character. She's pretty fun to play around with, but the problem is she's way too squishy and there's way too many counters to her. If you plan on working with Hazel, make sure that you get her at least level 17 so you get that extra energy. And if you guys find any combinations that work with Hazel that we missed, make sure that you let us know in the comments of this video. Thank you for watching this video of the Tactical Noobs. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure that you check out some of our other videos that you can see around me, and make sure that you subscribe as well. Now, one thing you guys may be waiting for, another live stream. Tactical Noob live streams will be coming back soon, so don't worry about that. Make sure that you subscribe and you'll get the notifications of when we go live.